Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Finnophile Podcast. This is your host, Mahmudul, and I'm really happy to have a special guest today on my podcast. She is Carrie Patsalis. Is this how you pronounce your name? Patsalis.
I guess you say Patsalis.
Patsalis. Okay, this is how.
Greek.
This is how.
Greek. I married a Greek.
Okay.
Do you know? I'll tell you something. My surname used to be Preston, which was so much easier.
Then it changed to Patsalis. Okay,
It
I think. Okay, great. So we have Carrie Patsalis today on my podcast, and she recently traveled to Bangladesh and made a lot of videos about Bangladeshi culture by going to different places and visiting different places. And her videos have really attracted good responses and a huge audience on YouTube. So, Carrie, welcome to the podcast and thanks for joining me from the UK.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, today I will actually talk to you about the idea of happiness, what you think about happiness, and whether your travel to Bangladesh as a British traveler has made you happy. And also, I have aptly titled my program, Whether a British Traveler Can Be Happy in Bangladesh by Traveling to Bangladesh, So my first question to you would be about happiness and the definition. What does happiness mean to you?
I think for me, happiness is a feeling. So for me, and actually I had this when I was in Bangladesh on my recent trip, just a real sense. It's a mix. It's like an excitement. It's a buzz. And it's also a satisfaction that you don't want anything else. There is nothing else in that moment that you need or want. And for me, I think the last time I had it in Bangladesh was simply sitting with people having a chat. And I remember thinking, I feel really happy. And it was a conscious thought that I felt really happy. And it was a feeling.
So it's all about feeling. And when you were in Bangladesh and you had cha, like tea, with people. that made you happy. And also I think the British people, they drink a lot of tea, right? So it's the culture.
I mean, I've got a coffee right now, but normally it would be tea.
Okay, yeah, because when I was in Finland, in Finland is the coffee culture. So Finns are the highest drinkers of coffee in the world. Like the annual consumption of coffee is the highest in the world in Finland. And that is also like, when we were young, when we were children. So we learned it. I don't know if it's a fact or we just, it's just a saying in Bangladesh that the Bangladeshi people, they learn to drink tea from the British people when your ancestors were ruling us for 200 years. and first it was saying, they said that they offered the British people, they offered tea for free. And then when the Bangladeshis got hooked, then they started charging money for it. And that's how it was.
Amazing.
and that's how it was commercialized in this part of the world. So I don't know if it's a true story or fact, but anyway, this is how we learned when we were growing up in Bangladesh. So really? Have you consciously thought about happiness at any stage of your life? Or is this the first time that you are talking to a Bangladeshi and he is asking you questions about happiness?
No, I'm aware. I've been aware that I've been aware of my happiness for a while. And I think that it comes from, as I've got older, sort of recognizing that it doesn't take much to make me happy, actually. And I think I kind of spotted it because I hear other people whinging about whatever they're whinging about. And I remember it's kind of crossed my mind a few times. I just think, I don't know, I don't get those sort of feelings. And therefore, I think have you heard the phrase, I'm a glass half full person?
Yeah, glass half full, half empty. Yeah. That part, so.
And I think it's just as I've got older, I'm just aware that that's my character type. And that I find happiness in, and as I'm getting older and older, I'm finding happiness in simpler and simpler things. So I am aware of it, and I'm aware, certainly, as I said, like when I was in Bangladesh on my recent trip, there was a definite moment where I thought, I feel so happy. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, I do it. And it's nice to acknowledge it, actually, because it can pass you by. And it's, for me, it's what makes the world turn. If you're happy, then everything is just a bit easier, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you are happy, you feel the motivation to do what you want to do in your life, and also in your everyday chores, everyday grind. So, but if you are unhappy, if you're not feeling it, then everything becomes difficult, and everything feels like a burden on your shoulder and on your mind. You made a video a few months ago describing 5 reasons why you returned to visit Bangladesh. Now you have to tell me 5 things that made you happy in my country. Can you?
No problem.
Can you count 5? You can also say less than that. Doesn't matter.
I would say, well, first of all, it goes without saying, the people, Bangladeshi people, number one, absolutely up there, because Bangladeshi people, you just have something about you which is different to any other country I've been to so far, which is this real openness in your faces. And I can walk down a street in Dhaka and catch the eye of someone and smile, and you just get this whoosh, this wonderful openness and this happiness. And obviously the hospitality is unbelievable. So that's definitely, without a doubt, number one. And that I have to say is the biggest selling point, I would say, for Bangladesh from a tourist perspective, is the people. So number one, done. Number 2, food. The food's really good. Bit of a secret weapon, I think, guys. Bit of a secret weapon. I literally learned, actually, only on this recent trip, through speaking to more and more British Bangladeshi people, which has been something that I didn't expect would happen from my YouTube. But actually, I found that I've been tapping into this huge network of expats who are now here. And they explained to me that our famous curry lane, if you like, called Brick Lane in London, which is always advertised as Indian restaurants, is something like 90% run by Bangladeshis. And we're actually eating Bangladeshi food and we don't realize it. And the reason that they labeled them Indian is because they felt the time when that generation of Bangladeshis came over, they felt that the Brits would recognize Indian food more than Bangladeshi food. Bangladesh, obviously, being, a newly named country back, 1970s, whatever. And so they labeled their restaurants Indian. And actually, and everyone goes crazy for the food here. We go crazy for curries, but it's actually Bangladeshi. So, I was like, really? Anyway, so the food, definitely. I would say the landscapes. When you get out into places like Rajshahi, when I was there and I was looking at the landscapes, it's like the colors, it's like the colors have been pushed. Like if you were filming on a camera and you and then you have your photo and you push the contrast and it makes the vibrancy pop. But it's like that naturally. So I would say that's definitely my 3rd reason. 4th reason would be just discovering a different culture. I mean, actually, that was my 3rd trip to Bangladesh, my recent one. So I'm starting to feel like I'm understanding the culture, and more and more. But the culture is amazing, and the hospitality. And then I would say probably 5th for me, which is actually the main reason I like to travel, is to break down stereotypes. So this is kind of where my whole travel vlogging kind of came about, is that I started to visit countries that were different to the countries that mainstream Brits would go to. If you think about the Brits going on holiday to France or Spain, maybe America. And I started to travel to countries like Bolivia. And Bangladesh comes with stereotypes, unfortunately. Here in the media, we don't see so much of the positive. We see more of the negative, like the flooding and the clothing industry and cheap clothing and too many people working too hard producing things and not being paid enough. So we get fed that a lot here. And what I have enjoyed the most is traveling to Bangladesh and really seeing the real Bangladesh, the real beauty, and being able to celebrate that on YouTube and encourage other travelers to visit, which is what's happening, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, do you remember the interview, the program that you attended on Jamuna TV? It's like a good morning program. Yeah.
I did 1 hour sleep. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. You are very sleepy. And I think you got to sleep for like 2 hours before you started. So you just arrived in Bangladesh at the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching your video like several hours ago. I was watching that video again. And there you talked about happiness. And that's the 5th reason that you just say that taking these stories back home and telling people about Bangladesh and your lovely stories. That makes me happy. Then I thought, oh my God, okay, she already actually revealed what makes her happy. So
you're late to the party.
Yeah, at least I got a clue. I got a clue. I got a hint. So of all the places that you visited in Bangladesh, which one is your most favorite? What do you think?
So this is an answer. This is a question I get asked a lot, and my answer is always this, and my answer is always that. I don't have a favorite place because every place that you go to has something unique about it. So I have standout places in my mind, but I can't physically pick one. So, for example, the division that surprised me the most would be the Rajshahi division. And I didn't get there until my 3rd trip because when you read the books, I don't know, that tourists generally go to Sylhet, Cox's Bazar, and you have to fly into Dhaka. So that's, you're going there, whether you like it or not. So basically, those would be the places for a newcomer. They're easy to get to and they're easy to travel around. So it was this 3rd one I went to Rajshahi. Now, Rajshahi blew me away. And I would say it was the division that most surprised me. It was different to anything else I'd expected, but and experienced. But it was so beautiful, so green, so clean, so unpolluted. And I felt like I had experienced real Bangladesh more in Rajshahi than anywhere else. And it's the division that I'd like to bring my kids back. They came in 2019. And as a family, when we do come back, all 4 of us, I think they'd really like Rajshahi. So that would be the division that I'd probably go, that's the one I'm probably going to head for first. It's got the heritage and everything. But then I also appreciated other areas for different reasons. So I think you say it, and actually in all my videos, it's already recorded, so there's nothing I can do about it. I said Sundarban, but I think you pronounce it or do you say
Sundarban, yeah.
Sundarban. So it's like an SH.
It's like an SH.
Well, all my YouTube videos say Sundarban. And it's too late now.
Yeah, not a problem.
But that was epic because, obviously you're in a completely different place in Bangladesh. You're in this massive mangrove. You are in wildlife heaven. And waking up and drifting down, some of the waterways in a little boat, having a morning chat, which is what happened with the mist. I mean, that was unforgettable. And then Bandarban was incredible, Kaptai Lake, and the sheer beauty of the place. You got St. Martin's Island, which was a surprise. I didn't expect I don't know why I didn't expect island life in Bangladesh. And again, it's because we just don't really know about it. So that was like, what? And then obviously Srimangal and the beauty of the waking up and seeing the tea plantations in the morning when you have a fine mist and the sun is rising. I would challenge anyone to find a landscape that's more beautiful. So I can't tell you a favorite.
You have actually picked too many, so I cannot even count, like 1, 2, 3 Raj.
No. Oh, and of course, course, the Attacker as well, for its vibrancy and its craziness. And so many smiley faces and lovely street food. I mean,
Yeah,
what more do
exactly. You want? Right. And also, you know what? I mean, you visited Sylhet, of course, right? So Sri Mangal, Sylhet. And we have a saying in our country about people who live in Sylhet that if you are from Sylhet, it is highly likely that one of your family members or relatives already lives in the UK. And another assumption that we make about the Sylheti people is that one day this person is gonna be in the UK as well.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that a lot of the Bangladeshis I've met here are from Sylhet.
From Sylhet.
Actually, I'm hoping that on Monday is a bank holiday here on Monday, and I want to go to Whitechapel, which is actually not far from where I live, because apparently there's a really, really rich, as in concentrated Bangladeshi community there, and there's very specific Bangladeshi supermarkets and restaurants in Whitechapel. So I'm going to go and infiltrate them, and because I want to buy some Bangladeshi food and cook it here. But I'm going to ask them where they're. I mean, many of them will be British, but but generations ago, it would be interesting to see if maybe their grandparents or great grandparents are from. I bet they are.
Right. And also, I mean, I have not followed her journey for the last couple of years, but there was someone, her name is Rushnara Ali. She was a shadow minister for something like education in the British Parliament. Yeah. And she was from Sylhet. I think she moved to the UK with her parents when she was just 2. Yes. And she speaks really British English, and I really like it. And she speaks some broken Sylheti Bangladeshi language. So.
Oh, wow. Because I understand, and I didn't realize again until I came back, I didn't realize that there is quite a strong individual dialect.
Yes.
In it. And I don't know, I mean, obviously you can tell me, I don't know how much it differs.
It differs a lot. It differs widely. I mean, even for us Bangladeshis, we have a really hard time understanding people from Sylhet. I mean, and even the problem is that it's not like the pronunciation of individual words is different. It's also like, say, there is this word water, and they have a completely different word for water. So when you have this kind of situation, it's really difficult to understand the language, So we don't even bother. Trying to understand people from Sylhet.
No. I can't remember the dish that I had. Shakura, I think.
Shakura.
Mutton shakura.
Okay, mutton. That's what I understand. Shakura. Yeah. Is it pakura? There's one item called pakura. It's kind of a snack, but I don't know about shakura, or maybe, I mean, that's what I said, So maybe they have maybe we have a different word. Maybe we have a different word.
Yeah, it was just, I think I was using the wrong word. I wasn't using their word. And then of course they were like, no. I know my language is terrible anyway. My language skills are falling at the best of times. So
When I was like 15 years ago, when I was young, well, I'm still young, but when I was younger, let's say, so I heard this joke. What do you call a person who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. And what do you call a person who speaks only 1 language? It's British or American. So it's not monolingual. It's not monolingual, because it is highly likely that if you are British or American, you only speak 1 language.
Absolutely. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, the thing is that I'm particularly bad, but it's funny when you go abroad and often you try and speak some of the local dialect language. Those people, doesn't matter which country it is, could be France, wherever, they will respond in English. So you just don't get the chance to practice. And I don't know whether it's because you're so bad, they just think, no, stop. Stop right there.
Exactly. And did I hear it correctly? You married a Greek person from Greece. Yes. And do you speak Greek?
No, do I speak Greek? Not, to be fair, he doesn't really speak. He's from Cyprus. He doesn't speak. Okay. He understands it, but he came over to the UK when he was 3.
Okay. Yeah. So we can say he's British.
yeah. And his parents moved back to Cyprus when he went to uni. And he understands everything fluently. But he said he would say of himself that he speaks like a 5-year-old. So, you know, I can say hello and goodbye and how are you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it. So what do you prioritize in life? Being rich and famous or being happy?
100% being happy. I don't think I'd want to be rich and famous. I mean, to be honest with you, like when I worked in TV and I had to deal with celebrities, I mean, they're almost like in these weird little cages because they can't just go out and
walk down the street.
They can't do that. I mean, everyone would say, "Oh, sure, it'd be nice to have money," but to be honest with you, I say I only want to have enough money to be able to travel, because to be honest with you, I don't think I could live in a big mansion with lots of posh things, because having traveled so much and seen how other people live, I don't think I could live with myself. So if I won the lottery, I would just make sure it was, you know, I had enough to live on and travel. And I would want to just give it away. I don't think I could. I don't know. It's not anything. It's not anything I aspire to have. I mean, it's hard enough raising enough money to travel, to be honest, because travel has become very expensive, particularly right now with the fuel crisis. But that is all I need in life to be happy. I'm not bothered by designer clothes or anything. or eating gold leaf desserts in posh hotels. I mean, who cares? Who cares?
I get it. So when did you discover your love for traveling? Did it came at an early age?
I mean, when I grew up, my parents took us, we used to go camping in France and Spain, and we used to go skiing. And we had a trip to America, but it wasn't anything wild or crazy. It was quite low key, I would say. And then when I started working in TV in my early 20s, I did a production for 3 months in Europe where we were filming the renovation of old properties in Italy, Spain, and France. It was really nice. And I recognized there that every time we went to a new location, I was definitely very excited to see it, try the food, you know, things like that, which was lovely. But I didn't travel sort of far-flung until I was older again, mainly because of money and not being able to afford it. And then I had my twins. So it wasn't until they were about 7 that we went on our first sort of trip further afield to Costa Rica. And that, I think, was the moment that I thought, oh, this is really cool. And then it just sparked a kind of passion to push it further and start going to countries that weren't on my radar, like places like Mongolia. And it just became an addiction to which I don't appear to be able to recover.
Yeah, I understand. And I mean, I can imagine, because I also love traveling, but I have 2 problems. Number one is the same problem that you have, the scarcity of money, of course.
Yes.
and the second thing is that you have one of the strongest passports in the world, so you have lots of freedom. But as a Bangladeshi passport holder, I don't have that freedom. But I really love it, and I actually fell more in love with traveling and meeting people from other cultures when I was in Finland, because that's a multicultural society, and I have always dreamed of living in a country, in a place where I would be talking to people from different cultures, different religions, who practice different customs. So this is what I really love. And also I'm very xenophilic, So I have a strong obsession with everything that is from outside Bangladesh, so that is foreign. So because of that xenophilic things, identity in me. So I always love people from outside Bangladesh, from people who are not part of my culture or my country.
Yes.
I also love traveling, but the problem is that, as I say, the money and also the restrictions that comes with my passport.
That just seems so desperately unfair. And I it's true to say that I am so aware of how lucky I am to have a British passport, but it also seems so wrong that just because I was born here, it's like the lottery, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
And sometimes that does make you feel a bit uncomfortable because there is no difference between you and me. So,
and also we speak the same language. I mean, I tried a lot. I really put in massive efforts to learn this language because, I've always wanted to connect with people from the English speaking countries. And I've always dreamed of, traveling to England. And I have always dreamed of traveling to England and telling the British people, hey, I'm from Bangladesh. I want to talk to you. Are you free on the weekend?
They'd probably be like this. Us Brits, we have to go a little bit slow with the Brits. Gently.
Right. So when we're speaking about Brits, this is a relevant, very pertinent question I have. There have been several surveys about what makes Brits happy, and the results have been a big mix of many different things. If I ask you what makes Brits the happiest in general, what would be your answer?
I mean, look, today, can you see that it's quite
sunny?
light?
Sunny. It's a sunny day, is it?
Right. So today, I have to say, it's one of the loveliest days that we've had all year. We've had a lot of rain so far, and the blossom and the flowers are out, but we haven't been able to enjoy it because it's been grey and miserable. One thing that makes Brits very happy is a day like this. And I was out this morning, and basically it just, the smile on everyone's face was incredible. So definitely the weather, and we like to talk about the weather a lot. Definitely tea. Definitely community gatherings and celebrations. So, like for example, the Jubilee. That was, everyone loves to be able to showcase what we can offer the world as far as kind of big state level celebrations. So everyone went crazy. And we all had street parties. There was road closures everywhere. So we love that sense of all coming together with our bunting, the little flags on a string, down, But and I think, very dry sense of humour.
So that's what you guys have in Britain.
Was so dry, in fact, that most of the time when I make my little jokes on my YouTube, it goes right over the head of the Bangladeshis. They think I'm serious. But it's a very, very unique thing, I think. Our humour is very unique, and it's very dry, and you have to tune into us to be able to hear it. And some people, some Bangladeshis, more expats have picked up on it, and they're like, oh. But many Bangladeshis can't quite spot it yet because they don't know the culture. But that makes us happy, our very dry humour.
Oh, yeah, I understand. And now I can sing a song in English, and then you can tell me if I sing good. Are you ready?
Let's go. This is like the X Factor.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so give me some time. I prepare my headphone and the sound settings, so it should be original sound. Yep, it's on. And
I hope I recognize it.
It's about traveling.
Okay. I'm glad you're not asking me to sing.
Oh no, I'm gonna do that. Can you hear the music?
Yeah.
If you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles.
Okay, That was
You
my.
have such a lovely voice. That's amazing. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah,
Thank,
very, very nice.
thank you. Because I told you in my also I wrote to you in my email that I really care about the English language, and I'm an Anglophile. So English language is not what I speak; it's who I am. It's kind of attached to my identity, how I see the world, how I think about the world, and the sort of lens through which I interpret everything. So I really love English language and try to. I have been still learning English language after all these years. I mean, when I go to bed at night, I listen to some like BBC news programs for like 5 or 10 minutes to brush up my English language skills, because I really care about this language, because it gives me a wider horizon, and also the chance, because when I was in Finland, I mean, they have their own language, Finnish language, but because I could speak English, I connected with a lot of people. And some of them, I mean, most of them, they said, "Did you grow up in England?" I said, no, I didn't grow up in England, but I learned but I learned how to copy. I learned how to copy the Brits.
You must be incredibly bright and incredibly switched on to languages, though, because it's brilliant. Your English is brilliant.
Thank you. And also, I think, I mean, many people ask me, even my friends in Bangladesh, they ask me, how did you learn it? I said, I just tried. And maybe, I mean, it just happened. I put in my efforts, and I don't know how it happened. But because I always think about English, and I also see the world, as I said, through the lens of English language. So the way you see the world and the way I see the world, it's a bit different.
Yes. Did you learn initially through books or through
actually through the BBC news program, the BBC World Service on radio, and also the newspaper in Bangladesh, the largest circulated English daily, the Daily Star. I don't know if you have heard the name. So the Daily Star, so that's the newspaper I was reading, and I finished my higher secondary education when I started learning it, because I had all the dream to go to England one day and talk to the real white native British people. that didn't happen yet, but I still have my it will, because
it will.
I'm not gonna give up. I will get to the end of it. I will get to the end of it. So anyway, Carrie, I have to finish the podcast now because I'm running almost out of time. I only have 3 minutes, but it was really lovely talking to you. And I think you are the you are the first real British woman I have ever talked to.
Privileged.
in my life. I have always wanted to, make this kind of connections. And when I was watching your videos, because those are coming on my feed on YouTube, and I was like, okay, who is this lady? And and I watched some of your videos, and I really fell in love with her accent. So I thought, okay, she's from England. One day I should invite her to my podcast, and we should talk about happiness.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And it's nice to talk about something a little bit different as well.
So, yeah, exactly right. That's why I told you, like, everyone had asked you, like, why did you become a travel blogger, or why did you come to Bangladesh? But nobody asked you this crucial question, like, why are you happy when you are in Bangladesh? So this is very important. So anyway, Carrie, thanks for your time, and have a great day. Have a nice time. And so maybe we will talk sometime later. Okay.
That would be lovely. All right, then. Have a nice evening.
Okay. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.